كبهر دبري سيمي بودكم بسيرا كبهر دبري سيمي بودكم بسيرا سبك قولي بشتري بودكم بقلدا سبك قولي بشتري دلمي بودكم بقلدا
Yeah, as you know, if we make comparison between the current situation with 20 years ago or 30 years ago, of course, now the situation in Iraqi Kurdistan, it is very well, because now at the moment we have our own parliament, we have our own government, we have our own Kurdish institutions, and we have organized the relationship between the Kurdish area and the central government in Baghdad according to federalism. When we look at the current situation in Iraqi Kurdistan, of course the Kurds in Iraq is more have the right. If we look at the Kurds in Iran or Turkey or Syria, because now we have our own regional government inside in the Iraqi state. But inside of this regional government, we have our own problems. We have problems of the corruption. We have problems of the social injustice. We have problem until now. We have two administrations, one administration in Suleymania, the second administration in Erbil, and we have until now a model of the ex-Soviet Union government in Iraqi Kurdistan, because it is a single party ruling here. For example, here in Suleymani, PUK is a ruler party, and in Erbil, KDP is a ruler party, and we have from the top, they united in one cabinet. But in the rest of the administration, it is, we have two Asaish apparatus, we have two Peshmerga troops, and we have two financial ministries, and something like this. We have internal problems. At the with the Iraqi central government, you have, of course, some problems, some conflicts about the disputed area, about oil and gas, about how to, about the legal situation of Peshmerga in the Iraqi defense system. And we have, until now, the quota system, the political quota system in Baghdad.
Yes.
Until now, the relationship between the regional government of Iraqi Kurdistan with the central government organized by the political parties, not by the Kurdish cabinet and the Kurdish parliament. Until now, the Politburos ruling the Iraqi Kurdistan. This is the main problems inside of Iraqi Kurdistan. But in the same time, we are optimistic that we can make some good reforms in the fields of education, health, industry, and something like this. Yeah, first of all, we demand to separate the power of political parties from the government. Until now, there is interference from the Politburos in the daily life of the government. We want to separate it. As I told you, in Suleymania, PUK ruling. That's right, we have governmental institutions, but in the same time, it is partisan institutions. We want to separate the political parties, or we want to put an end for interference of the political parties in the daily life of the government, in the daily work of the government. And another thing, we want to change the partisan institutions. For example, here in Suleymania, Asayish, Peshmerga, police, even the schools headmasters, if you are not member of PUK, you have no opportunity to be appointed as an element of the security apparatus, as an element in Peshmerga, as a headmaster, as a teacher, something like this. It means we want to change the partisan, the governmental institution from the partisan institutions to a national or to a national institutions, to be for all the peoples to have the right to be elements in security apparatus, in Peshmerga, in everything. And third thing, we want to make some reforms in economic life, because at the moment there is a very big difference from the first salary and the last salary. And this caused some kind of social injustice. Month after month, years after years, there will be a small group, wealthy small group. The rest of the people, they are suffering from poverty, and many of them are under the line of the poverty.
Democracy is majority rule. Is there a chance for majority rule here?
Until now, no. Majority rule, of course, we accept the majority rule, and we think in every parliament or in every political life there will be competition between the political parties. After the election, there will be majority and minority. For example, until now we have no constitution. The majority wants to impose its own constitution over the Kurdish society. There is some laws which has the national dimension. For example, the law of national security, Kurdish National Security Council. It belongs to all the people, not for the majority. We need some kind of census about constitution, about this laws which has national dimension. We are not against majority, but they get the majority through forgery, through buying the people, and through impression, and through, for example, in the last election, they dismissed more than 2,000 employees, and they punished more than 4,000 because they voted for Gorran. Just because they voted for Gorran, they punished about 4,000 governmental employees. Yeah. We have a relative freedom, press freedom. Yeah, relatively we have it. There is many private newspapers, magazines, and there is some private radio station, television. But in the same time, you can ask the journalist about this. In the last year, they brought many of them to the court, and they punished them by finance. Sometimes they want to bankrupt the press institution through punishing by the money. And many of the journalists kick it, hit it, and sometimes they are not feeling that they are square. But in the same time, I can say you there is a relative press freedom. Yeah.
How about human rights?
There's violence of the human right. But you cannot make a comparison between the situation in Iraqi Kurdistan or in Baghdad or with the Syria. Here the situation is better. Really, we have no economy here in Iraqi Kurdistan because our budget, the budget of regional government, Kurdistan regional government, depends on the budget of Iraq. The budget of Iraq depends on the oil price. About 94 of the Iraqi budget coming from the oil revenue. And we get from the Iraqi budget 17%. Our budget in Kurdistan depends on this 17%. It means the local revenue, it has nothing to do with our budget. Our budget depends on the budget of Baghdad. And now we have more than 1 million persons, we are about 5 million. 1 million persons getting salary from the government. If you look at the different sectors, for example, agriculture sector, industry sector, tourism sector, investment, you have nothing. For this reason, the economic crisis in the United States of America and the economic crisis from Europe had nothing to do with our economy.
How about unemployment?
We have unemployment, especially among the university graduated, yeah.
How to overcome this problem?
What do you mean?
The problem of unemployment.
Yeah, from my viewpoint, it is not the matter to appoint more and more jobless persons. You can remember the destruction of Germany and Austria after the Second World War. They created job opportunity and they developed their country through infrastructure. We have a very well-educated manpower here in Iraqi Kurdistan, and we have capital, we have experience. We can start with building the infrastructure. Through the building of infrastructure, we can create thousands of job opportunity.
And why isn't it done?
First of all, they want to make all the peoples that they are in need to these political parties through salary. This is the first one. Second one, because we have no planning. We have a ministry of planning, but we have no plan.
You yourself have an Austrian and a European background.
Yeah, I think it is a very necessary for our country to build a very good relation with the European country and with the European peoples. We can build a very good relation in economic, in scientific fields. Especially, we can invite the European companies to invest in Iraqi Kurdistan in oil, in agriculture, in industry, and we can invite the European universities to cooperate with our university. We can cooperate and we can coordinate in many different fields between our country and between European countries. Especially, we have an open society. It is maybe easier for the Kurdistani society to coordinate and to cooperate with the European country. Especially at the moment, we have a very good Kurdish community in many European countries. We can, through them and through their governments, we can build a better relation and a better coordination between here and between European countries. I think here in Iraqi Kurdistan there is a good opportunity for investment, for cooperation between our companies, Kurdish companies and European companies, between our universities, between municipalities, between different things. Yeah.
How do you remember Austria?
Yes, of course. Until now, I think Austria it is my second homeland. I learned many things from Vienna University and from the Wiener community, really, from the Wiener people. Yeah. I think I am in debt for the Austria.
Has the Austrian political system of democracy influenced you some way?
Exactly, yeah.
In what way?
Yeah, for example, how they organize the state according to federalism, how the local communities has the right to organize themselves. The Austrian parliament or the Austrian political competition between different political parties, how they respect each other, how they work together, how they built the destructive Austria after the Second World War, how they rebuilt their country and how they rebuilt the Austrian personality also.
One principle is compromise. There is no tradition of compromise here. Do you think it will come gradually?
I am with compromise and I am with gradually development. I am not with military coup, and we cannot change our community in one day and in one night. We must have patience for gradually development and for gradually progress, and I think in dialogue with different views, different opinions.
Is the time over for fighting, for bloodshed, for civil war?
I think it is over, yes. There is no need anymore for any weapon, for using any weapon against each other. We can solve our problems through dialogue, through compromise, through mutual understanding for the problems, yeah.
How do you see the future of Kurdistan?
I see the future of Kurdistan very well. I think we are going toward more freedom, more development, and I think in the future we can have a better position among the international community.
What about the desire for self-determination?
Yes, of course, every Kurd has the desire to have its own national state. If there will be local, regional, and international conditions in favor of the building of the Kurdish independent state, of course, we are with this. Yeah.
Thank you for this interview, and I wish you and Kurdistan a very great success.
Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Come